Well, well, well. It definitely is splitting the fan base. Let's see what the Snarky J thinks, though. Get over and follow Snarky J. Tell her Tyrone Magnus sent you. Actually, no, I want to do it like this. Sorry about that. Yeah, okay.
For some people, James Gunn's Superman was a fresh new start, and for others, it was already the beginning of the end. Hi y'all, Snarky J Cosplay here. It's been a little over a month since the release of James Gunn's Superman, otherwise known as the basically reboot point for the DCU. And even though there was so much riding on this one, and so many people were really hoping to see a unanimous success, unfortunately, fan receptions are divided. On the one hand, there are people that have treated
Very
the new
much so.
Superman film like this.
And it's like people that I respect. There's some that liked it, some that didn't like it. I think more didn't like it than did like it, though. But yeah, but even in my comment section, it's split. Like there's people that think it's total garbage. And then there's people that think it's like the best things since sliced bread. Like I can't even believe that they think it's that good, type of good. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
Second coming of Christ. I love James Gunn's sense of humor. James Gunn is the new King of Kings. This movie saved my life. The fucking dog cured my depression. And then you have folks that think this movie sucked. I hate James Gunn.
And I believe that she read every single thing. Every single one of those comments she just spouted off were real. I bet you.
And a sense of humor, and I hate this version of Superman. It's a pretty divisive movie. I mean, I think it's really hard to find people who speak on a middle ground about anything these days, but when it came to Superman, the fights online were worth getting popcorn and pay-per-view for. When it comes to a character like Superman, there is so much legacy that basically any new version of the character is challenged by. Superman, regardless of your personal preference, I've never been a big Superman fan, but Superman isn't just any superhero. He's kind of
the archetype.
The superhero.
Yeah.
Historically, Donner's Superman was hopeful and inspiring, which in my opinion is what Superman has always been in the comics. And then we went on to Zack Snyder's Superman, who was incredibly polarizing because they took a way more grounded, dark, kind of brooding version of Superman. And to be completely honest, even though I don't like Zack Snyder,
he was trying to figure out his place, you know, because remember, the true reason why they made it more dark and grounded was because of Nolan's success with The Dark Knight. Nolan produced this. I forgot who wrote it, but they wanted to capitalize on that. So they thought to themselves, well, how would people behave really if a godlike character like that really did just appear on Earth and was that powerful, was saving people, but, you know, wouldn't they be afraid he might turn on them or whatever? And that's what was happening. People like to blame it on Zach or, you know, like it was the studio moved it that way. And, you know, while he wasn't truth, justice, and he didn't feel patriotic, he still felt like a good guy that wanted to do the right thing, you know, and I think that's something to aspire to. But they did ground him in, well, how would that person feel? You know, and he didn't feel too good with people thinking he was going to destroy everything. Matter of fact, Batman tried to kill him.
and I hated the Snyderverse. These two versions of Superman each have their merit to a certain extent. Donner's Superman is almost universally liked.
Yeah, he's closest to the comic book, absolutely. You know.
Like, Zack Snyder's Superman is definitely not. And so for years, audiences have been waiting for a Superman that, much like...
I think Zack Snyder's Superman is more liked than James Gunn's. You can tell, you can feel it, you can read it, you can see it.
Goldilocks and the Three Bears would feel just right. And to be quite honest, I feel like we're tasting a whole lot of porridge, but I don't think I found the porridge that tastes just right, or the chair that's the right size, or the bed that's the right size. I'm still just walking around this Bear's house looking for a Superman that works. James Gunn's Superman was probably under the most...
See, I'm a fan that can admit that Zack's did split the fans, but it didn't split the fans like James Gunn's Superman. It's different. A lot less people turned up for this, and there's a lot more venom on both sides about this particular Superman. Christopher Reeve, he's beloved. He can do no wrong, pretty much. Matter of fact, they let him go for stuff that they, talk trash on Cavill's for, so...
pressure that a superhero movie has ever been under. And for that reason, I honestly feel kind of bad for it. I don't feel bad for him, because I don't even need to get into all the reasons or tweets for why I dislike James Gunn. I've been over it enough times on this channel. But the point is that James Gunn's Superman film was really up shit's creek on this one. But they did hit on some good points. David Corn Sweat does make a really good Superman and Clark Kent visually. And James Gunn, over the years leading up to this Superman film, and over the years leading up to him being inexplicably handed the keys to the DCU entirely, managed to position himself as the guy who both delivers what the critics need and knows what the fans want. This DC reboot under the James Gunn flag was framed as a clean slate. We left behind Zack Snyder's brooding Superman, his unfinished, terrible plans with a Batman that had no backstory and was poorly executed from the beginning. I'm so sorry, Ben Affleck, you deserved better. A boring Aquaman.
He wasn't poorly executed. That Batman v Superman Batman is many, many, many people's GOAT Batman. That's a damn Batman right there. I love him!
A borderline irrelevant cyborg, a Wonder Woman with the acting skills of a plastic Tupperware filled with slowly rotting chicken. All of that, we managed to liberate our...
People always make fun of her for acting. People always doing the whole, Kal-El, no.
ourselves from right with the release of
I
this
love
new
Gal
Superman.
Gadot as Wonder Woman.
And so the expectations were huge. We wanted this film. James Gunn's new Superman.
Her range may not be that of, of the greatest out there, but she is really a likable Wonder Woman.
Supposed to unite the fandom and stabilize the franchise. And then, as things happen, we hit some bumps in the road. The trailers and early reactions were early warning signs, omens to some of us that are not particularly big fans of...
Sword of Omens! Give me sight beyond sight! Wow! Oh no! James Gunn's Superman is gonna polarize the fans! No! I'm gonna summon the Thundercats! I'm sorry.
Of James Gunn's style. His fingerprints were all over the earliest trailers of this film, with his shaky camera work, his misguided funny dialogue, and of course the colorful ensemble cast, because James Gunn cannot resist to not do the merry gang of misfits in every superhero movie he touches. For some, admittedly, this was a refreshing change from Zack Snyder's heaviness. There are a lot of people...
Probably every superhero thing, period, that he touches, right?
That really, really like what James Gunn does with movies. And this Superman, this James Gunn Superman, is an incredibly James Gunny Superman. And so for some, this version of the character kind of undermined that almost mythic stature Superman has had in the minds of a lot of people for years. And I would say that despite these more polarizing opinions, there are a lot of people that kind of rode that middle line on meh. Then, of course, you have the culture war.
I've seen some people, they're like, hey, I liked both. That's what they say. Okay. I think you can do that. You know what I mean? I love Christopher Nolan's Batman, and I love Zack Snyder's Batman. You can love both,
factor, which is literally at the forefront of almost every single piece of content we see nowadays. Some people praised James Gunn's social commentary and modern values and some of his political stances that are very clear in the film, while others felt that political aspects were too on the nose and that the movie at some points felt lectury. So when you look at it, you take a step back and you really evaluate the situation, the fan base is already fractured and like smoldering because people can't take different opinions on anything, not even superhero nonsense anymore. Forget politics. I get why people get insane about politics, but this is literally just, I like this movie.
I've always thought that to myself. I'm like, wait a minute, we get attacked the way we do online. You'd think we were, saying the most. You know what I mean? But it's just opinions on movies. It's strange, psychotic behavior by people.
I didn't like this movie. The cinders were simmering there. And then James Gunn came in and just dumped the fucking fuel on the fire. When we look at a film that's already this divisive,
like this.
If it was a film in an already established cinematic universe, which I hate that everything is a cinematic universe these days, but that's where we're at. If it was already just an installment in a bigger cinematic universe and people liked it or hate it, it is what it is. But this was set to relaunch the entire thing. This fingerprint that is on this film is going to be the same fingerprint that is on Supergirl, that is on Batman, the new Batman, the Brave and the Bold, which is somehow happening at the same time as the Batman 2, but I'm not even going to get into that.
And people always say, well, he said all the movies are going to have different tones. That doesn't mean that they're going to be any better or worse than what we got. Because if he's in charge, and this is pretty much the tone, he's going to go. I don't want to say the tone, because everyone says the tones are going to be. If this is going to be the underlying themes, the underlying feel, the underlying principles that he's running his movies on, I don't know if this is going to work. But we'll see. Hopefully, though, they can pivot and make certain decisions that will bring in the majority of the fans rather than making it so divisive. Because you can't please everybody, but you can please mostly everybody. That can be done.
I mean, this is the style. Forget it. It's going to permeate every single movie in the DCU moving forward. And so if you're one of the people that feels like Superman stumbled, then the entire universe that this DCU is being built on feels shaky. The tone, the feeling, everything is going to automatically be called into question based on what they did with this movie, which is more criticism and more writing on a movie than there really should be ever. The first phase of Marvel was basically built on curiosity and general fan goodwill, because we really hadn't seen any of this before and we were curious about it. But DC, the new DCU, is starting from a point lower than that, because we already saw what they did with the other DCU and then they threw it all away, and now we have to see what they do.
Yeah, DCEU just became a mess, and they didn't let Zack finish his vision, and I feel like there's way too many cooks in the kitchen. They kept trying to catch up to Marvel. They kept trying to be what Marvel was instead of running their own race, and different people started making different decisions for this movie, for that movie. Just the whole vision of what it was lost, and you can't blame that on one man. It just was too much garbage going on with that, but I like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, then everything else. And I liked Black Adam, you know what I mean? But I like Shazam too. So, but I didn't like Shazam 2. Birds of Prey, Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2, Wonder Woman 2, The Flash. I can't remember what I gave it. I can't remember what I gave The Flash, but that has aged like warm milk. I I think that's all, right? Or most of them. I can't remember, but yeah. Even though it wasn't related, I loved Joker.
With this one.
Hated Joker,
so they're
too.
already starting being challenged by us. And so Superman, where it should have united the fans under one red, blue, and gold Boy Scout banner, and we really should have learned that kindness is the new punk rock. Instead, it split us almost right down the middle. The optimists cry tears of finally a Superman full of color, heart, optimism, and the world's worst dog. Then you've got another group, the skeptics, that feel like this was Marvel-style humor and shallow spectacle.
Yeah, people keep calling it Marvel's Superman. That's what people keep calling it. I really think if they had given it to somebody from Marvel other than James Gunn, I feel like it would have never been this stupid. I think if the Russos did it, it would have never been this goofy. And I think it would have been better.
All wrapped up under the idea of this is our new hopeful Superman, let down by the reality. And then you've got another group, which is even smaller and probably didn't even buy tickets to watch this, who are completely burned out and don't trust DC anymore. And the result is division instead of unification.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's the nature of the times that we're living in today, because as I mentioned on a few points earlier in the video, I think we're kind of at a point where people are willing to be divided over everything and anything. It's not just political, but preferences in shoes and opinions about things. People are so willing to divide themselves, to become polarized, to become angry, to become hateful. And so when you look at a film like Superman, it's not Superman's fault, and it's not the job of Superman to establish and unite the fandom. But the fact of the matter is that a lot was riding on this Superman, and had it been better, sure, at the end of the day, better is a relative term. I didn't like the movie, so I'm going to have my opinion on it. I'm sure a lot of people, including some of my...
but overall, it shows it didn't do what they wanted it to do. So, they're definitely going to have to do better moving forward. So
friends think it couldn't have possibly been any better. Superman generally could and should be the hero that unites us, but it feels like every single version we get of this guy just divides people further. Again, maybe that's human nature, maybe we're all just looking for things to be outraged about, but maybe it's not so much angry fans. Maybe the studios and the writers and the directors no longer know what the character should stand for. That's just me thinking out loud, though. And that's all for me. I've been Snarky J. Thank you so much for watching.
Though.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more Snarky J, be sure to check me out on Instagram. And if you'd like to support me, this channel...
Okie dokie, snarky one. Good job there. Yeah. I don't have any faith in what's to come. I am truly just waiting to see what happens. I don't trust it. I'm just going to see what they do. And that'll be it. All I can do is hope, as a comic book fan, and a comic book movie fan, that they do well. But I'm going to keep telling you the truth and giving you my real opinion. 10 million subscribers. Woo!